I'll never get a house. I'm a Gen Z. I'm a millennial. I can't get ahead in today's world. You boomers bought your house for 2 baskets of strawberries, and so now I'm stuck, and you don't understand, and housing is so expensive. Honey, it's always been expensive. I was doing an interview on NPR the other day, and the lady said, I was riding with the Uber driver, and the Uber driver said his daughter is a dancer and a barista, and she couldn't get a house. And I went, that's been true in every generation. If you serve coffee and you're in Nashville and you're a dancer, those are not, career fields that you're going to make enough to be able to afford a house. That's not a new thing. That doesn't mean the system has failed. Truthfully, I don't think any time in history minimum wage has been enough to take care of a family. So you've always had to think beyond minimum wage if you wanted to excel, if you wanted to have A, build some wealth, or B, just take care of a family, those kinds of things. What's more disturbing than minimum wage is that wages in general, average household incomes, have not kept up with inflation. That's more alarming because that's the whole population. It's not just this segment that enters entry-level stuff at minimum wage. Because, if we go all the way back to minimum wage, I'm cutting grass for $3 a yard in 1972. But minimum wage was $1.65. My buddy's working at Burger King, flopping Whoppers, and he's making $1.65. If I can cut that $3 yard in an hour, I'm making double minimum wage at 12 years old. And that's how my little math brain was working. So I'm running that mower, I'm going. You've always had the opportunity to beat minimum wage. You don't want to sit and say, okay, minimum wage is my gauge of whether I can go win, because I can go do something that beats minimum wage. Where I think the real narrative that is a little bit scary is that wages have not kept up with inflation. And because we've had this unusual surge in inflation, and it's blamed on Biden politically, but some of it's his fault, his policy issues, but most of it is just the lingering results of the pandemic. And so the shortages of things always drive prices up on anything. Remember supply chain and all that stuff. And so everything shot up. Real estate shot up because people sat around in their houses during the pandemic, and then, when the sun came out, well, these people all wanted new houses. And house prices, 2021, wow. That was an artificial thing, though, that was created by the market being dormant and people being trapped, and then this idea of looking around at their house going, my house sucks, I need a new house. Boom, they hit the market hard, and it's still not recovered from that. It's still got the ripple of that. And some of the other things are that way, too. But there's some things, again, they're policy issues, but most of it is just the smoothing out of that. And Trump nor Biden should get the credit nor the blame. It was more how the marketplace was functioning. Again, prices go up. Number of people want to pay that? No. So now demand goes down, brings prices down. So the thing smooths out eventually. You find this equilibrium, this balance. And the problem is the shortage drove the prices up, and the shortage remained. And then people's appetite, they just kept coming, man, like freaking piranha. And that the marketplace surges is what drove the pricing. Now, that's not true in oil and gas at the pump. That's a whole different subject. That's not true on a few other things. But housing, for sure, bread, grocery store cart, yeah, all that for sure. People who think that America's dead and there's no chance for anybody to win. You can't get up off the bottom. Little man can't get ahead, that whole thing. And the problem is little man gets ahead every day in America. We see it right here. And I've met them for 30, 40 years, doing this. I run into them, and some of them did it because they did our stuff, but some of them just said, I'm going to live on less than I make. The most often occurring among the people we surveyed that were millionaires was engineer. Number 2 was accountant. Number 3 was teacher, which is surprising. Number 3, management, business. Number 5 is attorney. Medical doctor didn't even make the top 5. And we always think of doctors and lawyers, but they're actually number 6, but they're notoriously bad with money. They make a lot of money, but they're like music stars or something. They're notoriously bad with money. So we couldn't figure out at first what these things had in common because they don't seem to have anything in common. What we finally figured out is all 5 of these are process people. You follow a process, a set of rules, and you learn the rules and you follow the rules. If you're an engineer, only one way to build that building and it doesn't fall, right? If you're an accountant, it's not art. You don't get to make up how you do accounting. There's one way to do it. Teachers have a lesson plan they have to follow. Business has always a set of best practices. Attorneys, there's the law.
Right.
And you can only conduct yourself in court a certain way or the judge will smack you backwards, right? And so all of these are process people. So they discovered, because of the way their brain worked that led them into these careers, they discovered the process of living on less than they make, living on a budget, starting to invest, being generous, paying off their house, that kind of stuff. And they follow that process, and that's what got them there. Interesting thing is 1/3 of them, 33%, made less than $100,000 a year. Oddly enough, 11 years is the average millionaire that paid off their houses in 11 years. Some of them 7 years, some of them 14, but an average of 11. And $1 million that's not $1 billion. There's a lot of difference. Millionaires don't have jets. Millionaires don't have 7 cars and 4 houses. They've just got a paid-for house and some money in their retirement. That's what it amounts to. People kind of have a different mindset there, and they think, okay, I can't be like this rock star. Well, you might not be. There's not as many billionaires as there are millionaires. And so when you feel stuck and hopeless, you got to back out and start looking about, okay, here's the numbers, and here's the reality of the marketplace. Facts are your friends. And so oftentimes when someone calls on the Ramsey show, that's all we're doing. They call up and they're overwhelmed, they're frozen, they're paralyzed, they don't know what to do. And we're going, no, wait a minute, how much you make a year? We make $100,000, okay. And so, and we're stuck. We can't move. We can't figure out what to do. I'm like, okay, how much you owe on your car? $56,000, okay, all right. And how much, do you have in retirement? Nothing, okay. How old are you? I'm 26, okay. So the facts are that you really have plenty of money coming in, and you bought a car you can't afford. Sell a stupid car. A lady called not long ago, and she said, they're foreclosing on my house Friday. What am I going to do? One thing you can do is just go get another house. You can do that? I'm like, yeah, just go get something to rent. People will rent to you? Yeah, people will rent to you. You're not going to be homeless. She made $120,000 a year. We'll just go get you another house. But let's learn about the details of the foreclosure and see if we can stop it. We were able to actually figure out how to stop the foreclosure. But the reality was her whole life was coming to an end on Friday, and it's a house. There's one on every corner. Just go get another one. But we get when you don't have any payments except a house payment, you can save 15% of your income. And the average household income in America right now is $72,000 a year. If you save 15% of $72,000 from 30 to 65, you're going to have about $5 million. So if I'm like 5x wrong, you're still a millionaire. And then when you don't have a house payment, dude, I mean, that's $2,000-$3,000 a month. You really can't screw this up. It's like, but you can screw it up because you live in America and you can get a $1,200 car payment for a freaking car you can't afford to impress people at a stoplight who don't even care about you. Hope is a decision. I've had the reality in my life of going from mowing grass to millionaire in my 20s to losing it all. I've got that reality, and so when someone says it can't be done, I went, wait a minute, hello. I'm fairly smart, but I'm not a rocket surgeon. I'm figuring it out as I go, right? And so I think anybody can do it.